Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is for Precalculus. This is going to be video 1 for trigonometry. So this is how I would like to begin the video. I'm going to start with quadrants. I'm going to start with things that I'm sure a lot of you already know, so I won't spend too much time on it. So the quadrants are broken up and you're reading them counterclockwise. So this is quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. If it makes a full circle, so if you divide it into 4 pieces, you're going to get 0 to 90, 90 to 180, 180 to 270, and 270 to 360. What you notice is that I didn't put any equal sign under the 0, 90, 180, 270, or 360. Those numbers actually lie right here, 0, 90, 180, 270, and then 360. So these are my 4 quadrants. And what I'm going to do in this exercise really quickly is we're going to decide which quadrant does the angle lie. Some of you might think it's tedious, it might be too easy, but I promise you it will get better, and I'm doing this for a reason. 72 degrees is a number between 0 and 90 degrees. Therefore, it lies in quadrant 1. 123 degrees is a number between 90 and 180, so it lies in quadrant 2. 315 degrees is a number between 270 degrees and 360. So therefore, it's in quadrant 4. At any point, you could pause the video and see if you can do the remaining 3, specifically the last 2. 210 degrees is a number between 180 and 270, and therefore it's in the 3rd quadrant. So that's how we do those. If you need to pause the video, then please do, but I need to erase this, okay? So once we do that, I'm going to show you how to do number 5 and 6. Now, what we have here is 370 degrees. 370 degrees is nowhere on this chart, right? So like if we go to 90, to 180, to 270, to 360, we end up right back where we started. So going around to 360 makes you basically reset. It makes you start back in the beginning. So take away 360 degrees, you have 10 degrees left. So by going just a little bit more, you land in quadrant 1. So for 370 degrees, everyone, you go around 360, you end up back at the starting, and then you go an additional 10. What I did was I took 360 away from 370, and I ended up with 10 degrees. 370 degrees and 10 degrees are called coterminal angles. They basically terminate in the same location, okay? Let's figure out 520. So 520 degrees is going to be, definitely need to go around 360. And so I'm going to subtract 360 from this, and then I'm going to be left with 160 degrees. From there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick up where I left off. There's 90 and then 70 more. So this is in quadrant 2. Okay, so this is in quadrant 2. I'm not sure why I picked this color. And 520 and 160 degrees are both coterminal angles. Okay, so coterminal angle, what are they? They're just basically angles that terminate in the same position. Just remind yourself every 360 degrees is going to give us a coterminal angle. So what do I have to do to find the coterminal angle? 1 positive and 1 negative to these numbers here. It's actually very simple. All you have to do is add 360 and then take away 360. If you add 360 to 72, just imagine going 72, you're at 72 degrees to start, and then what you have to do is just go around 360 and you're back to the same location. So that's going to be 432 degrees. If you want to do it negative, that means you're going to go backwards. So that's going to be negative 288. If you add 360 here, you'll get the number 540 degrees. If you take away 360 here, you'll get negative 180. 72, 432, and negative 288 all land in the same position. And I'm going to tell you why this is important in 2 slides, okay? 180 degrees is the same as 540 and negative 180. And then finally, to get the coterminal angle, all I'm going to do is going to add 360 degrees, so that's going to be 570, and then I'm going to take it away, and that's going to be a negative 150. So these three are coterminal angles, okay? What about this person here called reference angle? What is a reference angle? Well, reference angles are going to be one of the most important things you learn in trig, okay? So if I'm going too quickly, pause it, go back, and so on. I'm going to actually start in quadrant 2 because I think it makes most sense. Theta is equal to, I'm going to say 135 degrees. That's my standard angle. I want to know what my reference angle is. That's the red part. So 135 degrees is here. Great. We know this whole thing is 180 degrees. This whole entire thing is 180, right? It's a half a circle. It's 180 degrees. So what we're going to do here is we say this is 135. Guess what? This is 45 degrees. I'm going to pretend that this here in quadrant 3 is the standard angle is going to be 240 degrees. Great. So what does that mean? It means you're going to go around 180 and then how much more? 60, right? Because 180 plus the 60 makes the 240. You know what that means? That means this piece and this piece right here are the same. So that means the reference angle is 60. That means I'm going to say prime. The reference angle is 45. Here in quadrant 4, let's call this 300 degrees. Well, you get all the way here. That's up to 270, right? 270 and then 30 more. So what's the reference angle? 60. Here, the reference angle and the standard angle are identical. So my question to you is, how do we find these reference angles? How did I get 45? Well, the way that I got 45 is I can choose 180 degrees, take away my standard. That would give it to me. How would I get 60 degrees in quadrant 3 if I know my standard is 240? Well, if I do 240 minus 180, I would get 60. So here, I actually did 180 minus the standard, and I got 45. Here, I actually do the standard minus 180. How about in quadrant 4? What do we do in quadrant 4? Well, in quadrant 4, in order to get the 60, I'm going to actually do 360 minus the 300. Okay? 360 minus the standard angle. And what you notice is in quadrant 1, they're identical. Okay? So quadrant 1, the standard angle and the reference angle are the same. Why is that? Well, here, I'm going to actually erase this because this is for my next lesson. So let's get rid of this. Here, everyone, if you take a look at this, it says reference angle is an angle that's below 90 degrees. And I want all my angles to be below 90 degrees. So if you're in quadrant 1, it makes sense that the reference angle and the standard angle are the same because it's already below 90 degrees. When you get to quadrant 2, you do 180 minus the angle. Quadrant 3, you do the angle minus 180. And in quadrant 4, you do 360 minus the angle. Never in your life will you do 270, so don't think about it. 180 or 360, our objective is to get it below 90. So let's try a few of these. 124 degrees is in the second quadrant. I really don't care what quadrant it's in. I'm just trying to think, how do I get this number below 90 if I can only use 180 and 360? Easy. There you go. That's your reference angle. How do I get this number, this large number, below 90? Well, 360. That's in the fourth quadrant. That's how you do fourth quadrant. Now it's below. How do I get 220? Well, 270? Nope. Never in your life use 270. How about if I do 220 minus 180? Great. That's 40 degrees. 45 degrees is already a reference angle. because it's already below 90. Now you got all of these numbers below 90. Reference angles are so important. Okay, so what about these last two? Okay, if you need to go back, you can always go back to the video. I'm just gonna delete these, erase these. What about these last two? I'm gonna do negative 210. Well, this is where coterminal angles come in, everyone. I'm gonna add 360 so I can have a positive number. So that's 150. In other words, negative 210 and 150 degrees are identical, okay? How do I get 150 to become a reference angle? Well, that's easy. That is why we need coterminal angles. Well, that's not only why, but that's one of the reasons why. So what we did was we made 210, negative 210 become 150. And then from 150, we did this. So now let's try it with 45 degrees, or negative 45. Well, add 360 to make it positive, okay? And now, how do we get 315? Well, we're gonna do 360 minus 315, and that's gonna be positive 45. So this is your reference angle. Here's a fun trick, or a fun fact. Any negative that is between 0 and 90, the reference angle is exactly the same, but the positive. And then you can tell because of this piece. If you go back, if you think about it, if you're going backwards, guess what you're getting? The reference angle. So negative 60, the reference angle is 60. Negative 42, the reference angle is 42, and so on. Okay? But that's how you find reference angles. Okay, I think I'm going to stop the video here, and then I will continue in the next video.